The Diamond League meeting for the women's 100-meter dash in Zurich, Switzerland is over, where Sha'Carri Richardson did what she does. She simply went out there and won the event, which has to be expected. But you have to understand why this victory is unlike any other in her career, because the last time the world saw her run was in the 100-meter dash final for the Olympics in Paris, where she was not the victor. That would be Julien Alfred of St. Lucia. And Julien deserves all the credit for bringing the first medal of any color back to her home nation. But I'm willing to bet that every real track and field fan knows that Sha'Carri Richardson underachieved in that final, and she still held on to get the silver medal with all her talent. But I have been saying for a while now that in the sport of track and field, in the eyes of casual track fans, notice I said that part, if you're not in first place, you might as well be in last. And if you consider that Olympic gold medalist Michael Johnson said himself that the games are clearly the pinnacle of the sport, which I'm inclined to believe, then you should know that Sha'Carri's Olympic loss in the 100 is tragic. She was supposed to win by all estimations. In fact, heading into the games, there were only 3 women in the world who had a real shot at beating her. And remember, we're talking about the same woman who is the reigning world champion in the 100-meter dash. Shericka Jackson of Jamaica and Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce, also of Jamaica, are 1 and 2. The only other lady who had a shot was Julien Alfred of St. Lucia, and 2 of those 3 women pulled out of the field for the 100. So Sha'Carri really only had to beat 1 woman, and it didn't work out. So Julien Alfred's victory doesn't just make her the world's fastest woman on reputation, it also takes that title away from Sha'Carri Richardson. And the fact of the matter is that she worked incredibly hard to earn it. So if you look closely at her Diamond League race, the same one I'm talking about in Switzerland, Julien Alfred is on the track. She's just not in first this time. The race was close down to the line, and Great Britain's Tina Asher-Smith even made it interesting. But that is besides the point. Sha'Carri Richardson got the victory, and that's the way the story is going to be written. And the same way that winning is all that really matters in track and field. When you are a sprinter, it doesn't matter whether you win by an inch or a mile, because a win is a win. And with the 2024 track and field season about to end, we know we're probably not going to see Sha'Carri on the track until next outdoor season, because she don't run indoors. So let's have a very real conversation about the future of women's sprinting going forward, because Sha'Carri Richardson is supposed to be the future. As a matter of fact, the future was supposed to be right now. And now that Julien Alfred has arrived and apparently isn't going anywhere, we're going to be watching a whole bunch of races going forward that are going to come down to 2 women, with everybody else racing for third. And the real question above all of it is, will any of those races actually matter for Sha'Carri Richardson's legacy? Because it does start to feel like the only race she does have to run going forward is in Los Angeles for 2028. I admit that I have been following the plotline between Sha'Carri Richardson and Julien Alfred for a while now on this channel. I've got the receipts to prove it. And what just went down in Zurich is probably about episode 5 of their head-to-head rivalry to this point. But if you're new here, I want to say thank you for even making it this far into the video. And I'm Coach Rob, the founder of SCARecruiting.com, where I rank the best track and field recruits across the entire nation. And if anything that I say actually connects with you, it is always greatly appreciated if you would please like and subscribe. But if I don't, just let me know in the comment section, because I try to read them all. The first time we saw them face off on the track was in a Continental Tour race in 2023 before the World Championships. Julien Alfred had just left college, and she beat Sha'Carri Richardson in that event. She ran away from her early, Sha'Carri couldn't reel her in. But we know what happened in the World Championship final later that year. Sha'Carri Richardson didn't just get the victory. She ran 10.65 seconds, which is faster than any other woman in the world was able to run. They didn't break 10.7. From there, we had to wait all the way till the Prefontaine Classic for the 2024 outdoor season in Oregon, before we would get a chance to see them both face off again. And they would still go 1-2 with Sha'Carri Richardson in front. And that race she did look pretty dominant, but between that moment in the games, something happened, because Julien Alfred was there in both the semifinal and the final, and it doesn't matter which race you watched, they looked about the same. Julien Alfred ran away early, and nobody was catching her, not even Sha'Carri Richardson. Which brings us now to episode 5 in Switzerland, the grudge match between both of them. Neither of them ran a personal best, but track and field is a competitive sport, where you line up against people and you have to beat them to the line. Sha'Carri did get the victory, and real track fans were watching, but the rest of the world really wasn't tuned in for that one. And to be 100% honest with you, it's probably going to be like that for a while, because every race you run in track and field is not created equal. I'm not even talking about training cycles and where the meets fall on the calendar for how fast you're expected to run. Simply put, the championship meets matter the most. And in this case, the Olympic final matters way more than any other race you could run. Going into the games in Paris, Sha'Carri Richardson really wasn't able to win the 100-meter dash final. The only thing that could happen was she could fail to win, because when you arrive as the fastest woman on the clock from the prior year and the reigning world champion, you're supposed to win, especially when two of your biggest competitors don't get on the starting line. Sha'Carri is perhaps the most recognizable track and field athlete in the world right now, and definitely at the top of the list if you're looking at women's sprinters. That level of reputation comes with a whole lot of expectation that she is supposed to be the best. So whenever she's running and people choose to watch, that is what they're expecting to see, for her to defend that rep. So this side of the Olympics, Sha'Carri now has a real problem, because it doesn't really matter what she does on the Diamond League. Nobody's really checking for it. In case you weren't paying attention, she did not win the Diamond League final last year in 2023. That would be Shericka Jackson. But the World Championship meet does draw more attention, which is why her getting the victory on that day is what we have in our memories. I don't believe there is another race that she can run. Not a World Championship final, not a Diamond League final, definitely nothing on the Continental Tour or anything like that, that would matter as much as the Los Angeles 2028 Games in the 100-meter dash. And a whole lot more has to happen between then and now for her to get to that final, including getting out of the Olympic trials 4 years from now, which is never a safe bet when you're American. And her rivalry with Julien Alfred does get very interesting when you take a closer look at both athletes. On the track, they basically compete as polar opposites. One is one of the loudest personalities we have in the sport, and the other is probably the opposite of that. One has perhaps the best top-end speed of any women's sprinter in the world, and the other is probably the best starter, without debate, for any woman sprinter in the world. It's why every track fan should know the script for every race they match up in. Julien Alfred is gonna get off the block and run away from Sha'Carri. The only question is, can she run her down? On her best days, she might be able to do it before the 80-meter mark, but it also could take her all the way to the line. In other moments, it might not even happen at all. And that also explains why their competition schedules are polar opposites of each other. Sha'Carri Richardson doesn't run indoor track and field at all. I don't believe she's ever run a professional indoor race since she became a pro, and that was back in 2019. But Julien Alfred doesn't just run indoor track, she takes it very seriously. It's the reason why she's not just the world indoor champion from 2024. She's 200th of a second of the world record in the 60-meter dash. I know that some people only tune in during the Olympics, and there's really not much I can say that will stop that. But watching these two women is must-see TV as far as I'm concerned in track and field. And they both know as well as I do that they're not winning much of anything in the short sprints going forward, specifically outdoors, without going through each other. When you are a talented sprinter at any level, you don't recognize everybody else in the race. The only people who you actually even register as competitors are the ones who are close enough to threaten to beat you. And if your name is Sha'Carri Richardson, or even Julien Alfred, that is almost nobody in the world. So watching these two women compete against each other is now the new normal for track and field. The reigning world champion and now the reigning Olympic champion, because Sha'Carri has captured the attention of the track and field world by running incredibly fast, consistently, and making it box office when she does it. But Julien was able to go even faster during the one race where everybody in the world, beyond the track world, is actually paying attention. I don't know what's going to happen for the women's 100-meter dash at the Olympic final in 2028. For that matter, I'm not even sure what's going to happen in 2025 for the World Championships. But I do know the same thing that Sha'Carri Richardson and Julien Alfred have already found out, that the only way they're getting a gold medal in either of those races, they're going to have to go through each other in order to get it. In the sport of track and field, confidence is everything, because when you win, that is just the moment when everybody else finds out what you already knew to be true, that fast is a lifestyle. Get your Fast is a Lifestyle track and field gear at scarecruiting.com/shop. or use the link in the description below. It's a huge support to me and this channel, so I can continue to make you more content like this. And remember, it is always greatly appreciated if you would please like and subscribe.